Hello everyone, Matt here and welcome to another Boyographic, the series in which I look at the highs and lows of the Gameboy library every Friday. This is one game I'm actually more familiar with on different consoles, but the Game Boy version is equally as good in my opinion. It's Boulder Dash. Boulder Dash. What 8-bit system haven't you graced? You launched on the Atari 800, the Apple II, ZX Spectrum, ColecoVision and Commodore 64 to name but a few. In this game, created originally by Peter Liepa, the player takes control of the game's protagonist, called Rockford, as he digs through caves collecting diamonds and getting the fuck out of there as fast as he can, Indiana Jones style. The Game Boy port of this game, published by First Star Software, who, believe it or not, still own the rights to this series even today, and developed by Beam Software, is surprisingly not a port of the NES version, but a remake of the original title with some nice sprite updates. The game has 4 worlds, each with 4 unique levels, where you mine diamonds, avoid some crazy traps, and fend off some weird looking enemies. Each of these worlds is selectable from the off, as this is after all a portable game that should be picked up and playable at any time, so it's a massive plus. The level selection is, however, based on the game's difficulty, which I only played through on the easier setting and still found the game very difficult, if I'm being honest. Some of the game's puzzles, especially in World 4, require a lot of trial and error. One wrong move can often result in an instant death, because, you see, while digging, the slightest misstep can result in setting the boulder chain reaction and see poor Rockford squished. Ugh. Boulders react in interesting ways in this game. Simply mining under them causes them to drop flat. Mining the dirt from the other side will cause the stack of boulders to roll apart, while boulders falling on top of other boulders will bounce down as they would in real life. This can become tricky, and a simple miscalculation can see the hard work of each level undone in a blink of an eye. Each level is also timed, which causes a little more stress in the later levels than you might think. While the game's tricky puzzle dynamics would usually have very intricate plotted routes, the time doesn't really give the player this luxury, meaning you'll spend a lot of time finding the perfect route or die trying. The game does do something very interesting in its ability to change views. Pressing select will zoom in and out on Rockford, meaning you can be very precise with your mining in particularly tricky sections, while quickly pressing select to allow you a broader look around the map, making things a little easier to navigate. You can also press start, which allows you to move your camera around the map without any harm to Rockford, allowing you to plan your route first, which is a very handy feature as well. The zoom function is something that I think would heavily improve some other Game Boy classics, especially those of arcade ports, such as Dig Dug, if widely implemented across the Game Boy's library. But as impressive as this mechanic is, it's also a bit of a double-edged sword. Despite a lot of the beautiful sprites and textures in the game, later levels will see you almost exclusively playing zoomed out for a better overview of the map, using the zoom only to sneakily jab a foot or spring a trap. While challenging, the game really does instill a just one more turn feeling that's hard to shake. The score is nice, though the same tracks being played on each level of the world does wear thin when trapped in a particularly tricky level. It's also kind of easy to get caught in a situation where escape and death are impossible. While it may seem that there's no way out of this situation and you're forced to tick down the clock, simply holding down A and B will put Rockford out of his misery, cyanide style. A massive disappointment for me, however, was that the game followed the original down to a T, and that means that even after completing the trickiest stages of Boulder Dash, the game rewards you simply by restarting the game on a higher difficulty level, which I can imagine would be frustrating for some gamers not used to this old arcade concept, wanting some closure to their playtime. While this game is only released in Europe and Japan, making it slightly tricky to find, it's definitely worth it if you want some Boulder Dash to go. It's a comprehensive and faithful port of the 8-bit classic, that will more than appease fans of the original, than those into modern roguelikes such as Spelunky. If you like challenging puzzles, pure gameplay where you can't pause to think beyond where your D-pad is taking you, then Boulder Dash is for you. And that's all we've got time for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check out the rest of our videos, such as our Boyographic series, some Boy Curious stuff where I look at the bootlegs and curiosities of the Game Boy. You can also check out the Let's Play Together series of Pokemon I'm doing. I haven't really had much response to the second video, so I'm not sure to carry it on. Please let me know if you're enjoying it, and I will do so. You can find me on Twitter at both Gameboy and at TMAcast, because I'm a host of a podcast called Tom Attack. You can also find both the podcast and these videos over at blastprocess.com. Until next time, guys, game on.